First of all, I'd like to thank Andy for inviting me on this evening to talk to you all and share some ideas with you all. So thank you so much for plugging in this evening. And what I just want to talk to you about this evening really is our first 3 years in the business and how we went from earning nothing to £5,000 a month in just 3 years. But you know, we all come to the Clean Easy table with different backgrounds, different personalities, different challenges and different belief systems. So for the next 20 minutes or so, I would ask each and every one of you whether you would give up the right to be right. If you could write that down, give up the right to be right. And just maybe I could share a few things with you, a few thoughts and ideas. Well, first of all, it took us 4 years before we said yes. Our sponsors were Peter and Jackie White, and they had been trying to recruit us into this business for 4 years. And it wasn't until Mike got made redundant in the Christmas that this card came through, this Christmas card came through from Jackie with a cheque for £7,133 after just 4 years in the business. And by now, I think Jackie had been getting quite fed up of talking to us, so her frustration showed there a little bit when she put on the cheque, "Is this cheque bloody well big enough for you yet, Jean Day?" Well, it was, but I was still working, remember. So Mike had just lost his job again, and he thought, well, what have we got to lose? You know, at the end of the day, I'll just get started in this business, and if it helps to pay the mortgage, well, we can take it from there. But he was still quite sceptical, I've got to say. So 6 months after Mike was made redundant, I was, and that, to be honest, was a nightmare. So both out of work, no income, it really was decision time for us. It really was. Can you imagine both being out of work at the same time? And the thing was, you know, you've probably heard this saying before, if we carried on doing what we were doing, we would simply carry on getting what we were getting. And that was a bleak future. Because all we could see, because by now we were in our mid-50s, all we could see was being made redundant time and time and time again, which really is no fun when you're in your late 50s. Even though we had both been offered our jobs back, we still had and thought of a bleak future ahead of us. So the big reason was, that big bleak future for us, was that we had no pension, because we actually used to live abroad, and when we came back we simply had no pension. And what we actually said to ourselves was, could we earn a residual income that would replace both our salaries? And both our salaries combined at that time, as we'd lost our jobs, was about 70 to 80k a year. And I don't know about you guys out there, but we had never understood what residual income meant. But because we'd been going to a few meetings and we heard this thing about residual income, and it was money that you earned long after you'd done the work, we thought, wow, this could be the answer to our not having a pension. So we really would like a bit of that. Because you see, we always had a fantastic lifestyle before we joined Clean Easy. We always lived in lovely houses, we drove great cars, we went on fab holidays, and it had all stopped. So what was our driver? Because we've all got to have a massive driver if we're to make a success in this Clean Easy business. And our driver was that we actually didn't want our great life to stop. And we didn't want poverty in our later years, because the thought of that scared the heck out of me. It really did. And that really drove me on, and I know it drove Mike on as well, to really get stuck in and take this business really, really seriously. Because you know, when you look at poverty in later years, we all know today what pensions are paying out. You know, it's in the papers time and time again. In fact, every day, what pensions are doing. There is no such a thing. Gold-plated pensions going into freefall, for example. And I'd like to ask you, the audience tonight, just to have a little thought and think, have you actually got a pension outside of Clean Easy of more than £10,000 a year? Because if you haven't, you really, really do need to take this business by the horns and get stuck in. Because many people are going to be left with poverty in later years. Because 40 years in a job will give you a residual income on retirement of maybe £500 to £800 a month after 40 long years of working, if you are lucky. That is if you're lucky, after 40 years in a job. After just 4 years in Clean Easy, 4 years guys, we were earning a £7,000 a month residual income. We'd achieved our goal. So you know, how do you think we felt when we were able, after 4 years in the business, to send this copy of our cheque back to Jackie for £7,326? And it just was so delightful to be able to write at the bottom of that cheque, "Is this cheque bloody well big enough for you yet, Jackie White?" It was an absolute pleasure to do that, because our pension had been solved. So the secret to our business, guys, is that we worked hard, persistently and consistently. You hear those words over and over again in Clean Easy, and that really is the secret. We did that for 3 years, persistently and consistently, not doing it one day, not doing it 1 month. We did it for 3 solid years, until our business went into momentum. And that is the secret of this business. It's to drive your business into that momentum stage. So what was our track record? Well, Mike joined in February 2002, and I came on board in July 2002. And we actually then went gold in period 10, 2002. And when we went gold, we actually went gold with 20 people on our front line, out of which 10 of those were all hitting 10%. We recruited at a very fast pace. We supported everybody that came into the business. In other words, we got the foundations of our business solid so that we could get our cheque up to that £0 to £5,000 in 3 years. And I firmly believe, for everyone listening out there, that this is your foundation of your business, is to get that goal level correct and right, and never stop recruiting, because you don't know when your leaders are going to appear. We then went bronze exec in period 7, 2003, just nearly a year later, and we were 3rd in the challenge trophy there, so our business had started to build. A year after that, in period 9, 2004, we went silver exec, and we won the executive trophy, which was an absolute honour in such a short time. So 2005, this was the year that did it for us with our momentum. This was now going in to our 3rd year in the business. And we went gold exec in period 2, 2005, whilst we were on conference in Sydney. And I thought that was pretty cool to go gold exec when you weren't even here. And then in period 9, just 7 months later, we went SED. But we didn't just go SED. This was our plan. We wanted to build a business in width and depth, all in one go. And that is where the work came in. We then went bronze SED in period 9 as well. Silver SED in period 9 as well. And gold SED in period 9. Going up the plan 4 places in one period, which of course qualified us for a Mini Cooper and a BM3 series. Our cheque was £5,500, plus we had a £4,500 bonus from the company for going up the levels so many places, which meant that in 1 month our cheque was 10k. And that was our 3-year plan of the consistent hard work of moving the business forward by developing and promoting gold businesses out and supporting people. And because we carried on building our business, because our next goal, the next 3 years after that, was to qualify as premiers. And we qualified as premier and then became that year, the same year, Distributors of the Year, which was an absolute honour. It really was. An honour because without a fabulous team, you can't achieve that. So here's the thing, guys. This is now when I want you to really give up the right to be right. And what I'm about to tell you might sound a little bit extreme, but if you really do want to earn £3,000 a month, because you know you can, £5,000 a month in 3 years, you can all draw a line under your business right now and start your own 3-year plan. But to do that, maybe you need to look at what I'm going to say now. The first thing is, you can fit Clean Easy, but of course you have a choice. You can fit Clean Easy around your life. Or number 2, you can fit your life around Clean Easy. One will give you an income and one will change your life. The choice really is yours. Now, as you look at those 2 sentences, I would like to ask you, which version did you follow in a job? You had to take number 2, didn't you? You had to fit your life around your job, because your job in the job world was the one that gave you the bread and butter to bring your family up. And you couldn't just take time off when you wanted to. You couldn't take your children to the hospital when you wanted to. You couldn't take a weekend off when you wanted to, because you were a slave to that job. But you know, it amazes me when people are in Clean Easy full time and they want to earn the income, that they do the opposite. They fit Clean Easy in around their life. So all of a sudden, they start, instead of doing the Clean Easy, they go off and they have time out because they think, oh, now I've got this freedom. But you know, guys, you haven't earned the money yet. And you've really got to look at this and say to yourself, it might sound a bit extreme what I'm saying. Of course, that you're probably thinking, what's she on about? My family come first. Well, of course they do. My family came first as well. But you're no good to your family, guys, when you're broke and you can't give them things. So you have got the choice to just get stuck in and work hard, or really stay in that job where you will be tied to for life. The choice really is yours. So what can you do to change things? You can change things. So what can you do? You need to believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. Now you might think, especially if you're new and you're reading that sounds mystical or mumbo jumbo. But what I'm about to tell you now is in fact inside each and every one of you. It is actually a physical thing that is inside your brain. And it is called your reticular activating system. And it sits at the base of your brain. It's as big as your little finger. And from now on, I'm going to call it your RAS for shortness. And what your RAS does, it acts as a filter to your mind and controls everything that enters it. Every single thing. And your RAS is dormant when you're asleep, but active when you dream. That's why we're told to dream big dreams, so it can click onto that. It doesn't know the difference between reality and imaginary. And more than 1 million bits of data assault your RAS every second. And if you let them, you would actually go mad if you let them all in. So what happens is, your RAS only allows 3 types of data to enter your mind. And you might want to write these down. Any threats to ourselves or our loved ones. And how can I give you an example of that is, if any of you out there have had a baby, and you know what it's like when you've just had a baby, you're absolutely exhausted, the baby's crying all the time, so you'll get a bit of shut-eye when you can. So you might in the day put the baby down to sleep, and it could be as noisy as heck outside. The bin men are banging, and somebody might be banging around in the road, kids are playing, you're fast asleep, and all of a sudden you hear the baby cry, and straight away you're alert, you're up, you're on it. And that is the RAS telling you that there is a threat to your loved ones. That's what it's there for, and that's what it does. It's a physical thing. And the next thing is that something that we're really interested in. What does that mean? Well, you could be at a big event, at a wedding, or a christening, or whatever, and there's lots and lots of people all around you, all hustling and bustling, talking and really, going wild. And all of a sudden, you hear the word clean easy. You could be in a circle talking, and you hear that word clean easy from quite far down the room. And all of a sudden, you're alert. You hear the word. And that is because you're interested in it. And that, again, is your RAS telling you, there's a word you're interested in. And last but not least, anything that fits in with our belief system. And in Clean Easy, it's our belief systems that shape us. Now, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you believe that chocolate makes you slim, for example? Do you believe it makes you slim? Well, I love chocolate. And when I read this article in the Daily Mail, that it said, eat chocolate and stay slim, I was so excited. I got that paper and I ran to Mike and I said, see, chocolate does make you slim. Of course that was a load of nonsense, because what I was doing, I was actually fulfilling my false belief system, and I was telling my mind, my RAS, that that was my belief system, but it wasn't. And that's what we tend to do in this business, guys. We tend to tell it our old beliefs. And especially when we're not doing well, we start to look for things to rationalize our false beliefs. And that is your RAS working. So, let me tell you a little bit about Mike's belief system when he was new. And it happens to many of us. His belief system told him he was above putting catalogues out, because he used to be a printer and he thought it was well below him. But of course, as we got going in the business, and as he started going to meetings and his belief system started to change, he then used to say to a lot of our team, do you know what, now I'm earning what I'm earning, I wouldn't care if I walked down the street with a pink trolley. I really wouldn't care. And guess what, he really must have attracted that, because just before we went to New York, he was helping one of our distributors, and blow me down, she said, Mike, you're pulling a pink trolley, and she took a picture of it. So how your belief systems can change. And then another one of Mike's belief systems was, he certainly wouldn't be able to talk in public, and he told his mind that he was just not able to do it. And guys, if any of you know Mike, if you knew Mike before he joined Clean Easy, you wouldn't believe the difference of him then to now. Because when we first started our meetings and we were going to present the business, as you do, Mike said, right, tonight I'm going to present it. I've got to overcome this fear and talk in public. I said, fine. The worst thing was Peter and Jackie were coming as well. So we got to the meeting and blow me down. Mike locked himself in the toilet. He couldn't get over his fear of public speaking. So he had to go to work on that. Apart from telling his Raz that he could do it, he had to actually come out of his comfort zone massively, which was great when he was asked to speak in South Africa on a first international conference that we qualified for, which does just go to show that you really can do things that you thought you couldn't. So, your Raz, you see, whatever you have told it in the past, this is what it will bring to you, unless, guys, unless you tell it differently. This is the big thing. You have to tell it differently. And how do we do that? Well, it starts off with your goals. Your goals have to be everywhere so that your Raz can see them all the time. But you know, it's not just a case, and this really, when we understood this, this really helped us in our business. It's not just a case, for example, of having, say, a picture of a car up. Supposing you want a car as a goal. And yes, you've gone out, you've driven the car, you've smelt the leather, and you've put your picture up on your goal board. Well, you see, your Raz, your mind will just see that picture. But unless you then have got it written down about how you're going to achieve that, your Raz, it's impossible for it to be able to help you. So what you have to do, you have the car, and then you have to work out your check, because the most important goal is in fact your check. So you've got to say to yourself, okay, I need to get my check up by £500 before I can get that car, and this is the plan of action that I'm going to have to take each and every day, written down on the wall so that your Raz is seeing that every single day, and not just stuck on a goal board. It's got to be all around your house, everywhere, in your car, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, everywhere. You see, our own personal goals were always linked to our income goals, always. We would not do anything until we'd achieved our income goal. So to achieve our 3-year goal, and this is the good news, guys, we had to become the boss of our Raz. And you can take control and become the boss of your Raz. And this is what we told it. We told it that we would, this is to achieve our 3-year goal now, in the beginning, we told it that we would retail £1,000 a period. And we did. And of course you teach that on. We told it that we would activate 4 people a period minimum. That was the bare minimum. Remember, this was for 3 solid years, no let up. We were told it that we were going to travel to Peterborough every 4 weeks. Now bear in mind that Peterborough for us was a 7-hour round trip, and we used to go up there to the meetings to learn how to do this business, not just on our own, but with some of our team as well. We also told it that we would attend every single meeting and event, and that we would start the journey of our self-development, and that we would keep on investing into our business, and that would be a priority, because as we know that when we start to build a business, we've got to make some investment in it. So that is what we told our Raz that we would do, and we did do it, and we stuck to it. But what did we then tell it? Hang on, I just need to say this. But the secret was, we also told our Raz that until we were earning £5,000 every month, 5,000 was our goal, that we would not, this is the thing now guys, this is the sacrifice, we told it that we would not buy any new clothes. Now ladies out there, we all like our clothes as I do. I used to wear a black suit, and I had that same black suit for 3 years, and I used to just put different coloured tops under it to make it look a bit different. Mike had the same suit. We couldn't buy any clothes for 3 years. If you want success, guys, you've got to be prepared to sacrifice. And these were some of our goals that we said that we certainly wouldn't go on or buy until we were earning that income. We wouldn't have a new kitchen or a conservatory. And now we've got a new kitchen and conservatory. We wouldn't have a new patio or have a gardener. Our garden for 3 years looked like an absolute tip. But you see, the check was more important. We wouldn't take any holidays, weekends or breaks. We did work 7 days a week. The only breaks we had were the company conferences that we qualified for. And we wouldn't have any new cars. We had a Toyota, our old Toyota that we had when we joined the business. That was a workhorse, and we just had that. I was dying for a new car, but no, we qualified for those cars within 3 years. And we wouldn't have any investments, which was a villa in Spain, and we wouldn't buy that until we were earning the check. So you see, guys, a message that I'm sending across to you now is don't spend your money before you've earned it. Many people in the Clean Easy business buy their goals instead of achieving them. For some reason, they seem to see the goals on the goal board, the income isn't there yet, and they go off and they get themselves into debt, buying all these things before they've actually achieved them. So please, guys, don't do that, because you'll just end up in debt. You see, you've got to ask yourself, what do you want? If you don't tell your Raz what you want, when you want it by, and how you're going to achieve it, then how can it go to work for you? So what do you want? Write it down. And when you want it by, and your plan of action, so that you can get working on that, so that your Raz can help you to drive you towards that goal that you will achieve, because it can see it every day. And because of that, it changed our lives completely. Because of the way that we told our minds, in our 50s, in our late 50s, it changed our lives completely, guys. And it was just fantastic when we were in the Daily Mirror to have that accolade. It really was, you know, and it was a great recruiting tool as well. So we did change our lives in our 50s. But you know, people say you've worked hard, and yes, we have worked hard, and of course you don't get anything. But you know, guys, let me tell you what work hard is. Working hard is when I used to be a slave for a corporate boss. I've opened up many direct selling companies over the years that I've been with them. And I've known what it's like to get up at 5 in the morning and drive down to London, and to be faced with a boss with a long face, just banging his hand on the table because I might be 5 minutes late because I got stuck in a bit of traffic. Or you haven't maybe quite achieved your goal that month, or you've achieved your goal and it keeps moving the targets. I know what that's like. So you see, to me, this wasn't hard work when I joined Clean Easy, because now I was free. This to me was play hard. It's playing the numbers games. Of course it will always be a numbers game, but you have got to be prepared to employ yourself and start on that 3-year plan, if that's what you want to do. You want to go fast in the business. And because we've played all over the world with Clean Easy, we've been on 16 conferences, and you know, we've never gone on these conferences on our own. As you can see next to the names of the places that we've been to, these have been the amount of people that we've always taken with us, because conferences have always helped us drive our business. And our focus group, which is what we're called, we have been all over the world, and you know, we've had such fantastic fun with our team all over the world. And of course New York was the last one, and it was just amazing. It really was. So let's have a look at what else we've achieved with the result of 3 years hard play, as I would call it. Remember those investments that I said don't get until you're earning £5 a month? Well, now we've got a villa in Spain that we can go to now because of our residual income whenever we wish. Our daughter got married nearly 2 years ago, and she wanted to get married in Chamonix. And so there's the church that she got married in, and wasn't it just fantastic to be able to give her a wedding that she dreamed of, and to have the money and the time to be able to go and have such a wonderful time with her in Chamonix, not just for one day, but for an entire weekend. All the guests came for an entire weekend, and we just had the most amazing time of our life. We could never have done that if we hadn't got stuck in for those first 3 years to get our business into momentum, to get our check going. And of course, other things that we've achieved as well, because she's now moved to Chamonix, we can go there whenever we like. We can just get on a plane and we can go to Chamonix and see her whenever we like, because we've got the time and we've got the money. And Christmas just gone, we all went as a family, and Patrick's family as well, to spend Christmas in her chalet in the snow, and there is my daughter and I on top of the world, having fun and just having a great time, guys. You know, is it so worth it to work hard? So, what is your RAS going to say to you as I come to the end of my presentation? Your RAS says to you, tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember, but involve me and I will understand. I would just like to wish you all the very best in your business, everyone, and just start your 3-year plan. Get stuck in, get really stuck in, and make each day count. Thank you for listening. God bless you all, and I hand you back over to Andy.